It started with the hum of the fluorescent lights. You get used to it eventually, the sterile white glow, the buzzing overhead, the sound of distant semis rolling past on the interstate. But on some nights, the silence feels too loud, like the store itself is holding its breath. I've been working the night shift at Coleman's Gas and go off Route 27 for 8 months. It's a boring gig, but boring means safe. Right, at least, that's what I thought. 1:45 a.m. The routine. It was a Tuesday night, technically Wednesday morning, and traffic was dead. No customers for over an hour. I had just restocked the energy drinks and was leaning on the counter, scrolling through TikTok, when the bell above the door rang. But no one came in. I looked up. The door was closed. I walked around the counter, thinking maybe someone pulled it open and changed their mind, but outside, the lot was empty. The cameras showed nothing. No car, no person, just empty pavement bathed in yellow streetlight. I told myself it was the wind. Maybe the sensors glitched. Happens all the time, but that was the first night I felt it. To 19 a.m., the first glitch. About 30 minutes later, I checked the security feed again. One of the exterior cameras, the one facing the dumpster, was static, filled the screen, and faintly, there was movement, like a figure pacing back and forth. But it was too distorted to tell. I stepped outside with my flashlight. The night was still. No wind, no sound. I checked around the dumpster. Nothing. But the second I turned to go back in, I heard it. Knuckles, rapping on glass. I whipped around. No one. But when I looked back at the door, I saw it. For just a second. A handprint. A large one. Pressed against the glass from the outside. I walked back in slowly, heart pounding. The handprint was gone. At 3:12 a.m. a man came in. I hadn't heard his car pull up. No engine, no headlights. Just the bell on the door. He wore a thick brown coat despite it being summer. Hood up. His face was pale grey even, and he didn't speak. Evening, I said. Nothing. He walked straight to the beverage cooler, opened the door, and just stood there for a long time, staring. Eventually, he took out a single bottle of water, walked to the counter, and set it down. 220, I said. He didn't react. Then, he looked at me, just tilted his head, like he was studying me. I almost asked if he was okay, but something about his eyes too dark, too deep made my voice catch. He slowly reached into his coat and pulled out a crumpled $5 bill, slid it across the counter. I gave him his change with shaking hands. He turned and walked out. The cameras glitched again as he stepped into the lot. When I rewound the footage later, he never showed up. The next night, I almost didn't show up, but rent's rent, and I figured I'd just had a weird night. Sleep-deprived paranoia or something. This time, around 2 a.m., the lights flickered hard enough to go out for 2 full seconds. When they came back on, something had changed. All the candy bars in aisle 3 were on the floor, not scattered, arranged. In a perfect spiral. I stared at it, breath catching in my throat. I checked the cameras. Nothing moved. No glitch. No person. Just one frame. They were on the shelves. The next, they were in a spiral. I didn't even clean it up. I just went back to the counter and stayed there, trembling. Around 3 a.m., I saw something outside again. Not on camera with my own eyes. It was standing just beyond the edge of the lot, near the tree line. A figure, tall and thin, impossibly so. Its skin shimmered faintly, like oil on water. I turned the floodlights on. It didn't move. I called out. Still, nothing. And then, without walking, without moving, it was suddenly closer, just 10 feet from the glass. I screamed and locked the door. My phone started ringing. Unknown number. I shouldn't have answered. I know that now, but I did. And what I heard was my own voice. Help me. I can't get out. Then silence. I dropped the phone. When I looked up, the thing was gone. I told my manager about the weird nights. He laughed it off, said I was probably just hallucinating from boredom. But I remembered something. The break room had an old VCR system we stopped using years ago. I wondered if it still worked. On Friday night, during a lull, I popped in one of the old tapes. It was dated April 2017. High press play. The footage showed a former employee, Kenny, I think his name was, young guy, worked the night shift. At first, it was normal. Stocking shelves, eating chips, talking to himself. Then, at 3 a.m., he froze. He looked up, dead at the camera, like he could see me watching through the screen. He didn't blink. Then he began crying, but he was smiling too wide, like he couldn't stop. He walked off camera, then when the feed returned, the store was empty, but the door never opened. No one left. Kenny never clocked out. That Saturday, I decided to record everything on my phone. I set it on the counter, turned the camera toward the front door, just in case. At 2:57 a.m., the phone started glitching, grainy lines, red hues bleeding into the screen. The lights dimmed. A whisper echoed across the aisles. "You see it now, don't you?" I turned aisle 3. That figure from the woods was inside now, bent at a horrible angle, like its spine was broken in 5 places. It crawled toward me on spider-like limbs. I ran, locked myself in the supply closet. I stayed there till daylight. When I came out, everything was normal. No figure, no spiral, nothing on the cameras. Except my phone, still recording. I played it back. The footage only showed me, smiling, staring straight into the lens, whispering, "I see you too." I quit that morning, told my boss I wouldn't work another minute. He didn't argue. In fact, he said something that chills me even now. "Everyone quits after a week. I'm surprised you lasted this long. I moved to towns over, found a job during the day. Sunlight, noise, people. It helps. But sometimes I still feel it, like someone's watching." And just last night, I got a text, unknown number, a picture of me, behind the counter at Coleman's, smiling, but I haven't been there in weeks.